Let's talk about cybersecurity. What is cybersecurity? So, cybersecurity can be considered to be a set of tools, techniques, and practices for maintaining the safety and integrity of information and information systems. And when we talk about this being a set, of course, different professionals use different sets of the tools and techniques and practices, but there's some very common, important ones that are shared across the industry. And we're not talking about just software, we're not talking about packages that people are buying and using off the shelf. A lot of the work that happens is really about the approach or the mindset that's involved with looking at a system, analyzing it, coming up with a great way to simulate an attack and to protect against attacks, and to really get into the mind of a cyber criminal or an attacker or a hacker and figure out how they would be looking at a particular software or system and how they go around trying to access it or make it vulnerable. And that's one of the reasons why this is a field that is constantly evolving. Just as we are always using new technologies, different apps and websites become more popular, some become less popular, things grow in age, there's advancements in processing power, computing power becomes cheaper and more ubiquitous. All of these things can affect the landscape of threats and opportunities for cybersecurity. And that's why we also talk about cybersecurity being both proactive and reactive. Proactive meaning that we talk about doing research and scans and analysis and trying to figure out how to secure things ahead of something bad happening, ahead of a vulnerability coming out or an attack happening. And reactive meaning that if something does happen, then we go through and pick up the pieces and try to shut down any attack or exposure while it's happening, or we investigate something that has occurred, like a data breach, and try to minimize the impact and protect it against it in the future. There's, of course, many different ways in which a attacker can affect a system, and those are only growing in number as more people bring their own devices to work, and there's more and more Wi-Fi access points everywhere. More people have cell phones with internet capabilities, and just the number of services and service providers for different network connected, especially digital services, grow. And so the world is becoming much more digital, much more technology focused, and much more connected. And all of these things result in there being more and more ways for attacks to occur. One of the main activities in cybersecurity is called threat modeling. And what this means is we look at systems as they operate and we try to create a set of approaches to how to protect against specific threats. And that means that we look at, suppose, a website and we say, well, one of the things that can happen with a website is somebody can try to log in as admin if the admin password is guessable. So that's one threat. And then another threat could be that somebody attacks it with the denial of service attack. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that. And in such a way, once we go through these threat modeling activities, we can prepare a plan for how we protect against it and how we can analyze the property, perhaps the system, for risk against cybercrime and cyber attacks. And one of the things that we hear about a lot in relation to cybersecurity is breaches. And that means when somebody got in and accessed data illegally and either took it for their private use or exposed it publicly. Another is outages, when a popular website like Facebook or Amazon or Google for some reason becomes unavailable. And sometimes these can happen because there was a cyber attack that was performed against that particular property. There's also leaks, as I was saying, if somebody breaches data or somebody who's working from the inside of a company exposes data, or a government exposes data. This is often known as a leak, where private information becomes public, because once that happens, it's really very hard to turn private data back into public data, given how much the internet has made it possible to disseminate information nowadays and how quickly it can happen. Another very big threat that is more modern is ransomware, and that is where a system gets compromised and then it is held hostage. It is held for ransom by an attacker, and usually this provides some sort of a message saying, pay me this much money or I will destroy the data on your servers, or permanently disable your computers or anything like that. And sometimes companies and individuals actually will pay the attackers to get their system released from the malware. And this is becoming a bigger and bigger threat nowadays. And of course, there's the ever popular malware, which can refer to Trojans, viruses, all kinds of programs that do something other than what the user or owner of the resource where they're running, like a server or laptop or desktop, would want for a application to do. So something like deleting files or shutting down services, all of these could be happening because of malware. And another actually pretty big and pretty old attack is just theft, right? So if suppose a cyber attacker gets into your financial information and they learn how they can transfer money out of your account or in some other way compromise your assets, that actually can be facilitated through cybercrime. It's not just a physical threat. And of course, nowadays in the world where we have internet connected devices for our homes as well, a cyber attack can compromise your physical security as well and result in physical theft as well for either auto or home or any other kind of property that you own in the physical world. And one important thing is the security professional values their mindset over their tool set. I mean, all good cyber security professionals are great with their tools, and they usually have a trusty tool set that they like to deploy when facing a new situation. But more important than that is just having the right mindset of looking at a system and understanding where the weakness could be and assessing the potential for threats and potential for attacks and how to protect against them, how to simulate them, how to really understand the current vulnerability of a particular system and how to reduce that vulnerability. And so it's a combination of mindset and tool set that helps us to get the work done.